The Joker is a necessary evil for Gotham's survival because his violence forces Gotham's institutions to stay adaptive, not complacent. Batman and the GCPD cannot afford to become routine when the city keeps escalating. Gotham's canon repeatedly shows that when threats stabilize, corruption and negligence spread inside systems meant to protect citizens. The city's danger is not only criminals, but also bureaucracies that learn to tolerate them. Batman's long campaign against crime proves that deterrence alone fails when institutions stop updating. Gotham's stability becomes a trap when people assume the next crisis will resemble the last one. In multiple Batman storylines, organized crime families like the Falcone clan maintain power through predictable routines and quiet enforcement. Their control grows through continuity, not sudden innovation, which makes them feel managed. The Joker's emergence functions like an abrupt system shock because he rejects criminal economics and replaces it with spectacle and disruption. Gotham cannot negotiate with chaos the way it negotiates with stable rackets. Antifragility describes systems that improve under stress instead of only resisting harm. Gotham's defenses fit this pattern because repeated shocks push Batman's methods toward constant recalibration. The Joker forces the GCPD to confront failure modes that routine operations hide, like procedural blind spots and misallocated resources. When chaos spikes, training and command decisions stop being theoretical and become urgent. Batman's canon consistently shows he upgrades tactics after specific breakdowns, not after press releases. The Joker's pattern of unpredictable escalation makes that upgrade cycle continuous rather than occasional. A key limitation matters. The Joker's crimes do not solve Gotham, and they can deepen trauma and destabilize communities. Any anti-fragile reading cannot erase the moral cost of repeated suffering. Another limitation is canon variation across media, because Batman's stories span comics, films, and games with different arcs. The anti-fragility argument relies on recurring themes rather than one single Joker blueprint. The Joker also humiliates Gotham's corrupt officials by making their secrecy impossible to maintain. His attacks often spotlight incompetence and leverage public shock to break the silence that corruption depends on. In Batman lore, corrupt power structures frequently rely on plausible deniability and controlled information flow. The Joker disrupts that flow by turning private deals into public nightmares. This disruption can matter for preventing deeper conspiracies from gaining time to entrench. When public attention spikes, clandestine networks lose cover and face faster scrutiny. Batman's canon includes secretive, long-term conspiracies such as the Court of Owls, which depend on secrecy and slow institutional capture. Rapid public destabilization threatens that slow capture mechanism. Still, it is not guaranteed that every Joker outbreak reduces conspiratorial risk. Some stories show that chaos can create openings for new predators, including those with patience. The evolutionary catalyst comes from feedback loops. Gotham responds to the Joker's patterns by tightening security and revising procedures. Batman's recurring role makes that feedback loop personal and therefore relentless. Batman also evolves morally because the Joker attacks the boundary between justice and performance. Every new dilemma pressures Batman to choose restraint, escalation, or compromise under public scrutiny. The Joker's escalation prevents protectors from becoming soft by rewarding complacency with catastrophe. Gotham's defenders learn that survival requires constant friction, not comfort routines. This symbiosis is visible in how Batman's surveillance and forensic work intensify after major Joker disruptions. The Joker forces more evidence, more coordination, and more urgency in response planning. Gotham's institutional decay is not hypothetical in the lore, because corrupt officials repeatedly evade accountability until exposed by scandal or disaster. The Joker weaponizes that exposure dynamic against silence. Citizens in Batman's stories often demand answers after visible failures, and those demands reshape political incentives. The Joker's brutality can accelerate that shift by making neglect impossible to ignore. However, public anger can also be manipulated, and the Joker's theatricality can distort accountability. Gotham can punish the wrong targets when fear outruns evidence. The price of survival is paid in human friction, including grief, injury, and the permanent strain on families. Gotham's defenders absorb that cost through constant readiness and repeated losses. Batman's existence as a symbol of control also means he absorbs public hope and backlash at once. The Joker's chaos forces that symbol to remain costly and therefore credible. When protectors learn that they will face an adversary who never plays by routines, they build systems for worst cases. That mindset is a defense against both criminals and bureaucratic complacency. Gotham's survival depends on preventing the slow creep of institutional rot into everyday policing. The Joker supplies recurring shocks that keep reforms from becoming paperwork theater. Batman's lore also shows he cannot rely on any single ally or agency to do the whole job. The Joker's unpredictability forces redundancy across people, tools, and command channels. The uncomfortable conclusion is not that cruelty is good, but that Gotham's fragile systems sometimes need violent disruption to remain awake. The Joker acts like a stress test that exposes hidden structural weaknesses. In this frame, the Joker is a grim architect of Gotham's survivalist spirit because he forces constant learning. Batman's moral and technological upgrades become the city's response to that learning pressure. Yet the ethical tension remains unavoidable because Gotham could never truly need mass harm as a policy tool. The argument only describes an emergent dynamic inside the lore, not a justification for suffering. If the Joker is Gotham's anti-fragile stress test, which institution should be redesigned so the city learns without paying the same human price every cycle? The answer determines whether Batman's adaptations can outgrow the need for Joker-level chaos.